Hello, welcome to Alive to Thrive OT. I'm Lauren Lyman.
And I am Tracy Schnabel.
And we are two occupational therapists who noticed a gap in the healthcare system, particularly in mental health, prevention, and nutrition. So we really wanted to do all the research for you, show you our personal and professional expertise, and make things easier for you so that you can be the best version of you and improve your health. But before we get started, we have a legal disclaimer. This is for informational purposes only, so please consult your medical provider if you have any specific health concerns. We do not have any warranties or representations for the information provided, so please proceed at your own risk. And if you have a medical emergency, call 911 immediately. Okay, so today we have a really fun and exciting topic. We are talking about how open-mindedness can enhance your health.
And what I wanted to talk about with you is cognitive dissonance. So that's like $1,000 word, right? What is cognitive dissonance? Well, Lauren and I were talking about it not too long ago, and it made a lot of sense with me with our channel, because cognitive dissonance is where you have a set of belief systems, and then if you're presented with information that's opposite of that belief system, it causes like an incongruency inside your body and brain.
Inner battle.
Yeah, an inner battle, and it's difficult for you to take on that new information. So our whole purpose here is to present you with new information. Some people are excited about it, some people are not, even my own friends. And I think part of the reason, Lauren, would be like because of cognitive dissonance. So like you have a belief system, and I think the American culture's belief system is that we're chemical beings and that we can treat all of our disease and concerns with chemical solutions. And what we're trying to teach you is that there's so much more to human beings' wellness in general. But you have to kind of take your belief system that you've been taught your whole life, and that maybe even your doctor that you've had for a lot of years has, and we all need to kind of put it aside for a second and open up to different ways.
Doctors are finally starting to pull away and say, hey, maybe painkillers should not be the go-to. Maybe we should explore other things first. And that's where we come in, and that's where natural medicine comes in, and we're finally starting to turn in the road here and look at more holistic approaches to healthcare. But we're still not applying those approaches to prevention or applying them to health maintenance or restoring health in other ways other than pain at the moment. So it's something that hopefully we'll get to, but right now it's a little controversial. Unfortunately, a lot of these professions have been discredited because of the pharmaceutical industry, and so they're trying to regain respect. But, again, with cognitive dissonance, once you have this belief in something, no, this is quackery, no, this is stupid, no, this isn't good, it's really hard to shift your belief until you experience it yourself and say, hey, wow, this really worked for me. Or have a close friend or family that says, wow, this really worked for me. My purpose is to educate people so that they can improve their health, because I didn't have severe health problems by any means, but I had some things that were causing me discomfort, and they said, hey, you got to deal with this forever. Good luck, have fun. And I was able to get rid of them through more alternative health practices. So that's when I really changed my tune. And Tracy can tell you, like, I dug my heels in with a lot of things. I said, no, we live in Western medicine. We're the healthiest people in the world. We have a strong economy, a strong medical system, blah, blah, blah. I was taught this and I learned this in school, so it has to be true. And, even a medical professor said, half of the stuff I'm teaching you today is wrong. The problem is I don't know which half it is, because it takes science a really long time to catch up. Yeah. So it's really important, and now more than ever, I will say, hey, I was wrong. Oh, I'm wrong about this. Whoops, I'm sorry. I gave you wrong information. I have no problem saying that. But before I did, and I was doing a disservice to myself and to my patients, and now that I know better, I do better. So we just want to lead you on that path so that you can be a happier, healthier you with a better understanding of how your body works.
Yeah, we're just saying, like, be okay with being open to other things and to evolving. That it's a lot of research I was doing, they were saying why cognitive dissonance is so strong is because we cling to our beliefs as our identity, and then we feel like if someone tells us something that's different from our beliefs, then it's, you know, causing discord within us, that there's something wrong with us.
It feels like a personal attack. And there are actually brain images that have been done studying people who receive information that conflicts with their personal beliefs, and it activates the emotional part of the brain, not the logical part of the brain. So the problem is when somebody plays on those emotional parts of our brain, we close our mind because we get mad. And when we get mad, what's our natural reaction? Defend, defend, defend. But when you're defending something that you may or may not know a lot about, if your focus is on defending, then your focus is not on learning. And our focus should always be on learning.
And I think that's why, I mean, we're focusing on healthcare, but like, I think that's why some of the changes that need to be made in our society as a whole can't change, because we are unable to be wrong in a lot of debates. You need to be able to seek to understand, not to be right. I mean, I'm still working on it. But I mean, but you first have to acknowledge that cognitive dissonance exists, that you're going to have a bias towards your beliefs that you are either brought up with by your family or by the educational system that may not allow you to be open to other options.
And
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the other thing is having respect for other people's opinions and beliefs. So acknowledging that, hey, other people have cognitive dissonance too. So when I share something that I believe in, rather than attacking someone because I know they're wrong or whatever, or I know that this has been disproven, you have to come from a place of compassion and understanding.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. So if you get like overly excited about things like I do, and you're like, hey, I found this out, and this is not the treatment you need this treatment, and you've been looking at this all wrong, that's going to cue their defensives in their lower level part of their brain, that primitive brain. And then they're going to feel like they have to defend themselves because they feel like you're attacking like whatever they've decided to do or believe. So instead of coming at like an attacking and hyper mode, it's good to be compassionate and loving. Have that field of energy when you're telling them that. And then also do the persistent compassion where even if they're like, I don't think so, like just, you know, explain to them why you've come to that conclusion and let them know that you're doing this, you're telling them this out of total love, and that this is an option for them. They don't have to listen to you, but you just want to let them know that because you would really love for that information to be available.
Don't take it personally when they do get defensive. If somebody does get defensive about something you're saying, you know, it's better for your health, your mental health, for you to just say, I understand that this is about them and not about me. You know, just because I said something and they don't agree with it does not mean that they don't like me or that they don't respect me. It doesn't mean any of that. It's okay to disagree. Like, agree to disagree is something that I've said many times, and I'm fine with that. Have a great night. It's okay to disagree. And I think that in our society, we're so black and white. There may be things that are disproven, and that's okay. And it's okay that you thought it was true and it's not, because like I said, we're always learning. As a society, we're learning. As a world, we're all always learning about ourselves, about the environment. It's all just a big experiment, life, right? Yeah. So you try things. If they work, great. If they don't, try something else. If we closed our mind off to learning, if we ignored all of the unpopular beliefs, we wouldn't even believe the things we believe in today, because at some point, something that you believe in was not popular, and it was fought.
Like hand washing.
Yeah.
We talked about that in the video too. Lauren was talking about how the doctor that proposed, hey, maybe if we hand wash before surgery, we could prevent deaths. And people thought that he was ludicrous. And it was probably because of cognitive dissonance, because then you have to kind of accept some responsibility, like, oh, maybe because I was doing these surgeries and I didn't wash my hands before, that could have caused some deaths, and then I have to deal with that discord. But you don't know what you don't know. And you do know what you do know. So just try to move forward and be open so you can know as much as you can without blocking off new information because of an attachment to your ego, you know?
Right. So rather than taking it personally, like, oh my God, it's my fault that people died, so it can't be true because no, I couldn't have killed all those people. Like, yeah, you want to defend yourself and your pride and your... You know, if you're a compassionate person, of course you wouldn't want to kill people. So automatically you're going to defend that. Yeah, I guess technically you did a bad thing by not washing your hands, but you didn't know it was bad. So all you can do is keep an open mind, learn from it, and do better in the future. And that is 100% okay. If everybody did that, this world would be a great place. So... Yeah. It's okay to be wrong, and it's okay.
To our beliefs so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we could see all things in a shade of gray instead of black and white, I think we could solve all of our world's problems, including our health and our happiness, if we could just see things through that lens. Is it easy? No. But do we want to help point you in the right direction? Yes. And I think this cognitive dissonance subject is a really good starting point for how we can approach that. Because why are we not able to accept new information? And how can we, as service providers, as doctors, as therapists, and as patients, hear information and have an open mind and use it to our betterment?
So are you going to fault those people for not washing their hands? I wouldn't, because they didn't know any better. So the fact that they learned and then they changed, that's where the focus needs to be. The fact that this person had an open mind, found some information, and now we're incorporating it into society at large. That's where the focus needs to be, not the fact that we've been doing this wrong for 100 years. And again, if you're living, what we've been saying in other episodes, if you're living in the past, if you're perseverating on what went wrong in the past and you're not living in the present, it's unhappiness. It brings unhappiness. It brings stress, depression, anxiety, a lot of negativity into your life, and negativity attracts negativity. So it's really just where's your focus? You just need to shift your focus. And initially, shifting your focus is really hard because it's not something you're used to. But like anything, like tying your shoes, the more you do it, the more you practice, the more second nature it becomes. So then you admitting that you're wrong and being like, whoops, okay, I'm going to change the way I do things, that becomes second nature to you. And you grow as a person, and we grow as a society.
I like that. I was like listening to her, and I was like, oh, that's some deep prophetic stuff right there. It was making me think about some things. And how it also, I think, pertains to patients in general is, so I think as a culture, patient culture, we just want a quick fix for things, you know? So I think that's in our belief system. Hey, I have diabetes. I'm going to go to the doctor. They're going to give me some insulin and I'm going to be good to go. And I didn't learn until like 5 years ago, or maybe it was a little bit more, time escapes me sometimes, that you could reverse diabetes through diet. Mm-hmm. And I learned that at my job at the hospital from my patient. Yeah. A type 2 diabetic that reversed his disease and shared his story with me. And I didn't know that. And I think that we need to start taking more responsibility for our own health care and like not looking for quick fixes for our health and just in general for everything. We're kind of a society that's like, I just want gratification right now. And that's led to our detriment. So we have to be able to be open to new ideas and be open to putting in the work for our own health and happiness. Mm-hmm. Happiness and health doesn't come easy. You have to put your work into it. And that's why us as OTs can see this, is because we're trained to look at, well, what is in your locus of control? What are the things that we could change that can, possibly help you manage your illness better? And what I'd like us to go into in the future is possibly like reversal of illness. Mm-hmm. That's not really
And we also are taught least restrictive. Are we going to put you on something that causes a chemical dependency that you need every day for the rest of your life that you have to pay for? and some people can't afford it? Or are we going to try something that everybody could do pretty easily if you just commit to it? I'm going to do that first because I want you to have the least restrictive for your finances, the least restrictive for your lifestyle. I want you to start somewhere that's doable for everybody, because if we're offering expensive solutions, not everyone can afford them. Prevention is cheap. It's cheap. That's a problem for hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, but for you individually, it's a solution because prevention is cheaper than you suffering and getting these diseases and then having to rely on all these expensive treatments. Because at some point, people go bankrupt over these expensive treatments. So wouldn't you rather prevent it in the first place? And unfortunately, that's not something that's being well taught. It's getting better, absolutely, but it's not something that's common. So that's why we're here. And yes, some of the things that we say may result in that cognitive dissonance. It may offend you. It may spark something in you that wants to fight us. But if you keep that open mind, I mean, we're giving you a free podcast. Like, we have nothing to gain from this.
Don't care if I make money off of this ever. We just really want that information out there.
Yeah.
Because we did so much research and we're like, well, what do we do? And people watch YouTube more now than I would think of anything else.
Yeah.
So we figured we could get this information out to maybe make a change in society and the world. Because there's just so many are unnecessarily suffering. And it's because of cognitive dissonance. Like, we refuse to change our beliefs and we refuse to open ourselves up to alternative ways. Even I learned when I started looking at other cultures and how they did medicine. But we're kind of trained to believe that, like, America is the best way, and, like, other cultures, even like the earlier cultures are like backward or something, and they tell you kind of like, oh yeah, they believe in this stuff and that's like crazy, you know, like believing that different herbal treatments and things like that could be helpful. But when we did research, we found out that let food be thy medicine, what Aristotle said, is so true.
Right.
But if we listen to that rhetoric, you know, of, no, like, this is the most advanced way and the best way, then we would never have even looked into that information. So we're just trying to, like, throw a seed at you and get you to be open to things that even the Western world has said is not true or backward. But we're saying look into it for yourself because it could really help.
And the way I see it is, what do you have to lose? Right? So
everything to gain.
Right. There's no risk in all and a potential reward. Why not? Right? And, since I've kind of been more aware of my cognitive dissonance, it's not something you can just turn off. Oh, I don't have it anymore. No, it happens sure. And my initial reaction is to react emotionally. And then I remind myself, take a step back, put your emotions aside, think about this logically. Think about this scientifically. Think about the facts that were presented to you. Do they make sense? If they make sense, do I need to recheck my facts? Or if they don't make sense, okay, then they don't make sense, and that's fine. You don't need to attack the person because they're not making sense.
Yeah, and a lot of people, like, sometimes when I was doing research on this, sometimes they do, like, research and it confirms their previous bias. So just really try to, know what your beliefs are and be open to ones that are not your own, and don't try to confirm your own. Try to look at all different views and then assess. And be open with it. And I just wanted to give a quick example too, because this all might be really abstract, but I wanted to give a specific example. How many, and I don't want to, like, insult anyone, but how many people would actually tell you when you go to the doctor and you have a severe back problem that nutrition is going to help it? I know it seems like, well, to us it seems like common knowledge because we've been researching it so much, but I don't think...
It still seems crazy. I can't even imagine going to the doctor and them saying, oh, your back hurts? What's your diet like?
Yeah.
What? Oh, you have arthritis? What's your diet like?
But think about it. You can't regenerate your disc if it ruptured, if you don't have proper nutrition. You can't hydrate your joints and your disc if you're dehydrated most days, or you're drinking a lot of caffeine and doing a heavy work job.
You can't repair, you can't support, you can't rejuvenate, you can't. If you don't have nutrition, everything just degenerates. And nutrition is not like, am I hungry or am I full? Like, no, eating a piece of bread's not going to fix you. It's eating whole food nutrition, fruits and vegetables, eating from the earth, the things that we have always needed to survive, but for the past 100 years have replaced with processed food.
Or like, would you ever think that the doctor would ask you, how is your emotions? How's your spirituality doing? Like,
because stress does cause inflammation of the body. And that's physical stress from like strain, maybe heavy lifting, things like that can cause stress on your back. Emotional stress like depression, anxiety, I have a lot to do, my mind's racing. Or chemical stress like, hey, I'm using these really unhealthy cleaning products and it's hurting my body. All of those things cause inflammation in your body, and inflammation is a source of pain. It causes pain.
So I worked with this person and did like emotional release techniques that we talk about in other videos, Reiki, the nutritional therapy, and like massage therapy. And now like they're able to do so much more than just with what the traditional so if they had just stuck with the Western idea and
pills and surgeries,
they would
managing symptoms again. Even the surgery is managing the symptom, because the symptom is the bulging disc. We think that that's the problem, but that's actually a symptom. Yeah. What is causing the bulging disc? Why is it bulging? That's the problem. Yeah. The bulging disc is your body saying, hey, something's not right. Look into this. It's not saying, hey, go put me back so I can just pop out again. Yeah. But that's what we do, because that's what we know. And that's okay. It's okay that we know that, but now that research is showing, there are studies that show nutrition can does decrease back pain. Now it is no longer acceptable to not know, because we know. So now we need to open our minds, say, hey, maybe there's a better way to be doing this, and pursue it. And what do you have to lose by adding some more fruits and vegetables in your diet?
I know when we're talking about this seems all very logical and like it's not controversial, but it is controversial because of cognitive dissonance. The Western society is believing that pharmacological and surgical interventions are the main interventions. But
they're the only interventions. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. I mean, there's a time and a place for surgery. If I shattered my leg in a car accident, I want surgery. Give me surgery, and I'm probably going to need some pharmaceuticals too, because the pain's going to be really bad. I won't like it, but I'll take it temporarily and then detox my body, and that's fine. But it shouldn't be the only focus. I mean, we have to be open to the fact that there are other things going on in healthcare that are working. Why are we so threatened by that? Think about that. Why does it threaten your doctor or you or anyone else that there are alternative practices that help people?
Yeah. I mean, I get why it threatens like big pharma, but the doctors and the patients and providers like us, I think the reason why we haven't been able to stand up and change things is because of the cognitive dissonance. Like, we're just so stuck in what we've been told.
Well, also not saying that doctors are lazy. I absolutely do not agree with that.
They don't have a lot of time.
They don't have a lot of time to research. So what's easier, doing what you learned and what you know may have a beneficial effect, or looking into other options and maybe having to experiment a little bit? They don't have time to do that. Maybe if you have a private practice and you're financially comfortable, you have time to do that, and that's why a lot of holistic services are private practice. But if you're working in a hospital that demands you see this many patients, you see a patient every 15 minutes, you don't have time to do the research unless you go home and don't spend time with your family and you don't have work-life balance.
Yeah.
We're relying on schools to be keeping up with this. But again, like that professor said, 20 years. You're learning something that's 20 years old. You're learning outdated information. It's like iPhones, right? When a new iPhone comes out, they said, You already have old technology because there's already another one being made. Same concept. So it's really hard. I have a lot of respect for healthcare providers, all of them, and it's really hard for them to keep up with the research, but we have the time, we're committed to it, and we're doing this for you, for them. I hope healthcare providers do listen to this channel. I know a couple that do, and I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, we're just trying to get people to look at things from a different perspective. And I think even if the truth may offend people, like, it still needs to be said. So that's another thing with cognitive dissonance. I think people know that people have it, so then they don't speak up even when they know information that could help people, help situations. So both on the receiving and the giving end, you just have to accept and know, okay, this is a thing. I'm not going to take it personal.
Because you know what? Everyone's worried about themselves, and that's not always selfish. It's good to be concerned about yourself. They're worried about their loved ones, their life. It's okay. But understand that they're coming from a place where they're trying to look out for themselves. You know, they're not trying to attack you because they don't agree with what you're saying. They're just trying to get by in their life. So if you have that understanding that everyone's just trying to do what's best for them, and listen to people, don't listen to respond, but listen to hear and listen to understand. If you understand where someone's coming from and you relate to them, you can have a conversation. And when you have a conversation, rather than you should do this, you should do that, when you help them come to a truth, it's a lot easier and more effective than you spitting truths at somebody. Which, I mean, in a podcast, can't really do that. So we just ask that you have an open mind when you listen to us.
And so, yeah, I think the other thing I wanted to talk about as the solution is humility. So instead of being ego-based and being like, no, I'm right, I know this is to be true, and I have to have my point heard, is like taking a second back and being like, I could be wrong. There's like a possibility. Even if you think it's like 1%, you have to at least say, okay, there's a 1% possibility I could be wrong.
You will be wrong a handful of times in your life.
The more wrong you are, the better you will be. Like,
yeah.
Most inventors and things were, they tried things so many times, and if they had like this whole thing where like, oh, I can't handle being wrong, like they would have never been successful. So the most successful people have the most failures.
It's not about, not about the fact that you failed. It's what did you do after you failed? So again, where is your focus? Is it in the past? Oh, I screwed up. I'm a terrible person. I'm never going to succeed in life. If you have that attitude, you're right. You're not going to succeed in life. Yeah. But why are you focusing on the failure? Because again, positive and negative. Failure is not a negative thing. No. It can be if you let it be, but it can also be positive, because if you take that failure and you learn from it and you do something different next time, success can and will follow.
Yeah, failure is our best teacher, but we can't learn from failure unless we're able to acknowledge that we could have been wrong in some way, or we could have done things different in a different way, you know? Just know that your experience isn't everyone else's experience, and just to validate other people's experiences is just as possible as your own, so that you could be a more compassionate and well-learned person.
So humility, respect, compassion, understanding, listening to understand and not listening to respond. Those are really key components to not only being a good person, but to learning. And above all, acknowledging the fact that sometimes you're wrong, and that's okay. And it's actually good to be wrong, because then you can learn from it. So it's not what happened to you, it's how you respond to it. It's not what you did in the past, it's how you're going to move forward.
So try to look at anything with how much can I learn, no matter how much of a inner turmoil it gives you. Try to control your inner emotions and just look at it like, I'm here to learn, because that's the human experience, right? It's all about learning. So if you block yourself off from learning, you block yourself off of solutions. And
growth, personal, professional growth.
Yeah. So thank you for being here. Thank you for checking your own cognitive dissonance. Let us know if you think we need to check ours. We're open.
Yeah. Send us an email.
Yeah. Please like our page. Please set up notifications so that you know when we post a new video. Please subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions, you can email us at alive2thriveot@gmail.com. We offer whole food supplement education. Lauren does home consultations, how to make it your life tax-free. Or if you would like to learn about Reiki, I do Reiki too. So we just want to, we offer you a lot of services, a lot of education. So just open up a dialogue with us. We'd love to hear from you.
Yep. Okay, so thank you so much. We are wishing you physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health and wellness. Take care, everybody.
Bye.